beautiful souls, and welcome back to Faith in the Valley with Discharged. Wherever you are in the world, I hope that you are well. And for those of you who are new here, you are most welcome. So today I am going to continue sharing my story, and welcome to today's chapter in my back recovery journey. So this is day 6, part 2, and for those of you who may have missed part 1, then do check out the video for that. So this was the day that I was told that I was being discharged from hospital, but not in the way that I had expected. And it was emotional, it was frustrating, it was overwhelming, and I'm sharing it in full because I know that I am not the only one in the whole world who has felt unheard in the healing process. So at about 12:56 in the afternoon, one of the senior nurses, who was named Antonia, she came over and she said to me, "You're being discharged today." So I looked at her quite surprised because I didn't see that coming at all. And so I did say to her that I haven't been told what my pain management plan is yet. I haven't been told any information. And so Nurse Antonia replied and she said, "Well, it's already all on the system." But I personally hadn't seen anything at all. And I hadn't even spoken to anyone about, what the next steps were in terms of that process. And I hadn't spoken to any of the medical team either since that morning. And I had to remind her that I had spoken to the orthopedic consultants the day before, and I told them that I was the only responsible adult at home. And so they had agreed with me that due to my mobility, that they would monitor it, right, over the next couple of days at least, so heading into the weekend. But yet suddenly I was told by this senior nurse that I was going home. So Nurse Antonia, she then said that the doctors had told her that they were happy to discharge me. But I hadn't been informed of that myself. And so not even when they came to speak with me earlier to confirm that surgery wasn't going ahead. So it didn't really make much sense to me what this senior nurse was saying. It didn't add up. But then came the logistics part of this whole thing. So Nurse Antonia then said to me that, to try and kind of push this process along, she asked if anyone could come and collect me from the hospital. So I said, well, no, because everyone is at work right now, right? And then she said that they could arrange transport for me from the hospital to take me home. But then I said, well, but who's going to carry all my things? Who's going to carry my belongings? And I had to point out to her that even if hospital transport was arranged for me, I still had to use my walking frame to walk because I couldn't walk without some sort of aid. I couldn't walk on my own. And even then, as I had only just started doing, I would be taking pigeon steps while using the walking frame just to get to the actual hospital vehicle itself. And then I would still need some sort of lumbar cushion support, or at least a lot of stacked pillows to help to support my spine, while I was sitting up in the vehicle. And, just the thought of it, the thought of getting into the vehicle would actually be a mission in itself. And then not only that, but then once I got home, then what? Would the driver of the hospital transport, would he unload all my bags and then leave me outside? How would I use my crutches to manage the front steps, to navigate myself without bending or lifting or carrying anything? Like, how would it work? So at that point, I asked Nurse Antonia if I could speak to an orthopedic doctor or consultant before anything was finalized, because it was clear to me that things hadn't been thought through on my behalf, considering the position that I was in and the amount of vulnerability and pain that I was in, and the fact that my mobility was severely limited. So Nurse Antonia at that point, she said that she'll try and find someone that I could speak to. But in that moment, I felt so anxious and frustrated, and honestly, I felt all alone. I felt as if I was just being ushered out without much thought or consideration. And the thing is, it wasn't just about being sent home. It wasn't just about that. It was about being sent home before I genuinely felt ready. And I think that's the part that gave me the most anxiety, if I'm completely honest. And sometimes the hospital system, it moves so fast, right? But at a time when your body is moving so slow, because healing doesn't align with the hospital system, with human systems, with human expectations and standards and requirements and demands. That's not how it works. And it's that in between, the rushed discharge from the hospital against the slow healing. And that's where your emotions can really start to unravel. And I felt that. And even amongst that and feeling that way, what really helped me was being able to choose that I could also lean on God much more deeply in that situation. And I remember that afternoon, I just whispered to God, and I said, Lord, give me wisdom. Give me help right now, because I didn't see this coming. I don't know what to do. And I don't know how this is going to turn out. And then Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 came to me. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. God's always on time, isn't he? He always brings certain scriptures to you when you need it. And at that point, I realized that even if I felt that no one was fully seeing what I was carrying, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally, I was reminded that God sees what I am carrying, and he sees what you are carrying too. He sees the stairs that look like mountains. He sees the crutches, and he sees the pain. He feels the pain, and he feels the pride, and he feels the silence. He feels the hurt, and in Psalms 121, verse 8, this is what it reminds us. It says, the Lord will watch over you. And He'll watch over your coming and your going, both now and forevermore. How wonderful is that? And so at that point, I had to choose to trust, even in that awful moment of uncertainty. I just had to trust that God was not only going before me, but that God was with me. And you know what? Maybe you have been discharged before you were ready. Or maybe you are holding your healing in one hand and all your responsibilities in the other. And sometimes it can feel like it's just too much, but let me remind you that you are not weak, you are not forgotten, and you are doing the best that you can, and God is still covering you. And I know how it feels because I've travelled through it, and I'm still travelling through it. I'm just at a different stage of my healing valley. And you can explore my 30-day Healing by Faith prompt journal to help you. Or you can find music from my Faith in the Valley music album series as well. And I hope that these resources help you to breathe and to just feel like you're not on your own, and to feel like God is holding you, even when it feels like no one else is. And the truth is, you are still here. And your healing is still happening, even if it feels slow. You are not alone. Wherever you are right now, you are not alone. And finally, may grace meet you exactly where you are. I thank you so much for joining me today. I am so grateful to have you here journeying with me. And I hope that you found some encouragement as I've been sharing my story, and as other stories are being shared from other women who are going through their own recovery and healing valleys. And so, to remind you, if you would like me to share your story on your behalf, I am so happy to do that for you. And my details are in the description below. But until the next time, my lovely souls, take care.